Keeping kids from slipping into isolation outside of the school year can be challenging, which is why our next guest is here to share more about the summer stretch and its mission to rebuild confidence, character, and kindness among tweens and teens. Let's welcome author Summer Nilsen. So glad that you could join us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
So how much of an issue is isolation among teens, tweens, and in fact, many other age groups that are still in school?
Absolutely. It is such an issue. I mean, this is really the issue of our time as it pertains to mental health and today's youth. I mean, really, we're living in a different world, right? And so isolation has resulted from the access to phones and social media, and we've really built a program in which to specifically address that, to instill self-worth and to support mental health. The statistics are real, and this is something that we've worked for years to develop and speak to teens.
Yeah, you know, you see a teenager, you see any young person these days, everybody has a smart device, so everyone is constantly on their phones. How does this chip away at one's self-worth, one's self-esteem? What is it about being so attached to these devices that it's taking that part of their character away?
Well, I mean, the reality is that words have power, and with constant access to content and anonymous critics, the world looks very different. And so, as a result, we've really regressed in accountability to the impact of words and to what that's having. The reality is that cyberbullying has been crippling to our tweens and teens. That's really the driving force behind the book series and the school tours, is to have those real conversations and to really better understand what those experiences have been like.
Well, let's talk about that book series, the Ludor series, the Ludor Tales. Tell us a bit about what is in those pages, because clearly you're turning a passion for this subject into something countering the cyberbullying and the toxic online stuff that is overwhelming pretty much everybody these days, not just the young ones.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I will say this, this started with the Ludor Tales series. And so that book series launched with The Land of the Pines, followed by the sequel, The Land of the Strays, and the third book in the series, which is The Land of the Trade. Now, what these do are really utilize and use animal characters to specifically address and symbolize the issues that these tweens and teens are having. And so through these layered storylines and layered characterizations, we're able to bridge conversations to deliver a message that resonates, that engages kids on their terms. And so you start to see characters who symbolize the chatter and the false narrative and these triggers that are so impacting the mental health crisis among youth.
Right.
That's how we do it through these books.
And the genre is fantasy. Why did you choose that particular genre to tell your stories?
I chose it because I felt as though animals would enable us to have these conversations, and that by creating a fantasy world, that engagement would help resonate. It would enable us to have the conversations without it being threatening, and to address complex topics, but to do so in an environment where kids felt safe and they could still have fun, but we could really start to tackle some of these much bigger issues.
And you also do school tours. And what about words for parents? Because parents, they are the ultimate last word when it comes to keeping their kids off of these devices and to also be responsible for building up their self-esteem. So how do you work hand in glove with parents through your book series and through your mission in general?
Well, I think for parents, it's so important to know that, if you have a child with access to a phone or social media, first and foremost, we have to teach them self-worth, how to establish boundaries, and that real conversations with real people away from their screens is so important. I've spent years speaking to students in general assemblies at schools, and through that really learned that they want to drive these conversations. They're ready to talk about their experiences with cyberbullying and with social media and the negative impact it's having on their confidence.
Yeah, absolutely. Where can people find your series?
You can find the books in the series at loodor.com. That is the website. It's www.loodor, and certainly at Amazon as well.
Okay, wonderful. Summer Nilsson, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
We're back in 2 minutes.